Welcome, my friends. This is Maniacal Incorporated, and you join me where I left off on the last episode. Flann Sinna, the High King of Ireland, has died, and his son Grianghrafadóir has succeeded him under the bizarre and convoluted system of Tanistry or Taoiseach. Before we take a look at Grianghrafadóir and what his new domain looks like, Flann Sinna died of old age on the 17th of March, 913, at the age of 66. He was the cultural head. He was dreaded. He was illustrious. He was faithful. He lived a martial lifestyle and fought in 21 wars, 11 offensive and 10 defensive wars. That was some episode that we had the last time. When you think about it, King Helgi died. Grianghrafadóir's son Congus briefly ruled as King of Alba before being deposed and then being killed. And then Flann Sinna died. And of course the wars of the Italian crown came to an end after 2.5 decades which rent Central Europe apart and established a massive Gardariki power slap bang in the middle of it. My god, that was a chaotic decade or so in that game. We will continue as High King Grianghrafadóir. And we are paused. So there's a war against the tyranny of King Donald II. So this would be the guy who was installed by a faction demand in place of Grianghrafadóir's son. So presumably there was some type of a war going on there. We will pause very quickly and try to get to grips with what exactly is going on here. So the first thing that we'll decide is who we're going to support for the High Kingship. At the moment, Flann Sinna has no... Or not Flann Sinna, it's going to take me a while to stop saying Flann Sinna. Grianghrafadóir has no sons. His only son was murdered, died in suspicious circumstances. So the two most likely candidates are his brother, Uí Néill, his full brother, or his other full brother, Ruacán, and I think I'm going to support Ruacán. I think Grianghrafadóir would probably support Ruacán at this stage. Grianghrafadóir wants a son of his own, but he doesn't want to support somebody who would be too strong. Ruacán is now, he's the chief of our overseas Norse territory. Whoops. So that'd be hilarious, having the throne of Ireland go up in that direction. And the other thing is that he's married to somebody who doesn't actually provide him with an alliance or anything like that. So he's in quite a weak position at the moment. So I think Uí Néill would or not Uí Néill, Grianghrafadóir would vote for him, and he is now the top candidate because I think he's being backed by somebody else as well. He's not. I thought he was. A couple of people are supporting Uí Néill. Then they're supporting Geralt, which is a half brother of Grianghrafadóir's, and it's entirely possible that we might actually switch to Geralt at some stage. He's a drunkard. He's gout-ridden. He's mainly a diplomat. So for now, we will support our brother. Am I supporting Ruacán? I think I'm supporting Ruacán. We're going to support Ruacán's bid for the High Kingship, or not his bid, but we'll support his claims for the High Kingship. The great news is that Flann Sinna died in Ireland. He died on the island of Ireland. Irish forces hadn't gotten off the island yet, and he died after the Vikings had been not officially driven out. We haven't conquered the territory, but we've sieged them down and driven the Vikings out, and Flann Sinna felt that now was the time to die and hand over Ireland. And look at this, a little bit of Ireland up there in the middle of Alba, in the slap bang middle of Alba. So the other rather interesting development, one of a number of interesting developments, Grianghrafadóir has not succeeded as the dynasty head. Instead, that has switched to Donald II MacAlpin. So he would be the king of Alba. We have a new archbishop. Well, this is our father's archbishop. You replaced High King Flann Sinna Uí Néill of Ireland in the Irish conquest of the Earldom of Leinster. Ooh, and we got a champion. Dovna, what a time to show up. What a time to show up. Now, look at this. Grianghrafadóir was a lot more sensible than his father. He's gone straight down the gallantry tree. We're going to give him the chivalry focus. And we're gonna finish off and accept these two final perks, and then we'll see from there what it is that we're going to focus on. So very quickly, we'll just take a look at the changed political situation on the island now, following Flann Sinna's death. Flann Sinna held the majority of Ireland himself directly. He had given out Connacht to chieftain Finn Gwynne, the actual earldom of Connacht. The High Chiefdom of Connacht and the county of Breffni has now gone to Uí Néill. has Oriel. We're not entirely too sure he's an actual member of the family, but he has Oriel now. Then Desmond has gone to Geralt, who's drunk and gout-ridden. Thomond, Geralt, I think, is also the... Is he the chief of Munster, or has the chieftainship of Munster, the high chieftainship of Munster, gone? No, he's the. Oh, this. Grianghrafadóir has actually held on to the high chieftainship of Munster. I was not expecting that. So Geralt is just the Count of Desmond, and then of course the son of one of our previous stewards holds both Ormond and Thomond, and then Grianghrafadóir also holds Gowrie, and then way up here is our Norse territory held by Ruachan, who has just been elevated to our successor. So should Grianghrafadóir die suddenly, his brother Ruachan will succeed him. Hopefully he won't. And as you can see, we have no son. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to arrange alliances for our daughters. Probably the most important thing that we did was married Grianghrafadóir to this absolute giant of a woman. Look at her. The new High Queen of Ireland, towering over Grianghrafadóir. And I didn't realise this until now. She's pregnant again, so possibly she will provide him with a son and heir who might succeed him as the High King of Ireland. Or a daughter who we will use for alliances. So I'm going to see if we can marry off these three daughters and secure some strong alliances. So here is an interesting alliance, marrying our eldest daughter to the Duke of Augsburg, which is currently under the authority of King Jedward, the new king of the Gardariki, who succeeded his brother, King Helgi. So there is Augsburg. It's part of Bavaria, which was captured by the Gardariki. So we're gonna send that proposal. Who knows? We might get dragged into a war, an independence war or something like that, which we would gladly join. So I'm gonna send that proposal. Here is another marriage between our daughter Gormla and a count in the West Frankish kingdom. So getting basically securing troops from that region, hopefully getting even more. And then for our remaining giant of a daughter, inherited her mother's giant trait, I'm going to hold off for a while. She's 12, we can hold off for a while and maybe see if any better alliances come up at a later point in time. I think that's all of the major issues dealt with. Grianghrafadóir he has to kind of cement his rule. He has to lead from the front. He has no children. He has no sons to inherit after him. His rule is pretty weak. He's just after coming to power in the midst of a battle to liberate Ireland from the Vikings. He's going to have to lead from the front and show personal skill. And we're going to get a lot of pop-ups now. A lot of marriages being accepted and a lot of people accepting conversions to insular Christianity. I think these might have been members of the court up here in Scotland. Flann Sinna was able to keep them in check through dread. That does not exist at the moment for Grianghrafadóir, and I'm not too sure whether he will become a dreaded ruler. we could, of course, and we should, of course, take a look at Grianghrafadóir's actual traits before we do anything else. So he is diligent. He is sadistic, just like his father. It's a sin under insular Christianity, and he is trusting, which is not great for intrigue. But we don't have any major drawbacks. I don't think anything that gives us massive amounts of stress. Diligent gives us more stress, but we don't have that big shy trait, which was causing a lot of trouble and became a defining personality trait actually for Flann Sinna. So it'll be interesting to see how Grianghrafadóir develops. So there we can see that my brother Geralt is the new heir to the Kingdom of Ireland should anything happen to Flann Sinna. What we'll see about doing is to again secure more children. Flann Sinna is 37, and we're offering a betrothal to the daughter of the Salian rulers in part of East Francia. So this will bring in another 1,000 troops. And they'll form more strong alliances. That alliance to West Francia is really doing tremendous work for us. Absolutely tremendous work. I've moved him one square too far, one barony too far. And of course we have his own troops that have that were under Gowrie, but they've now transferred to Irish control. We'll bring them down and see if we can merge the two armies together. And this is interesting. It's bad when you need to scroll all the ways out and that still isn't far enough to show all the combatants in a war. The numbers are becoming a bit more equal. The Gardariki are calling in their allies. They've called in Ghana. So the ruler of Ghana is bringing potentially 3,700 troops to the island of Ireland in as part of his alliance with the Gardariki. I'm not entirely too sure how that alliance was formed, but what we're going to have to do is possibly start calling in some more of our own allies if this war is going to progress into a major conflict like this. But we now have forces from the west of Africa, as far as Gardariki territory over here. They haven't started calling in anyone further east, but they will be descending on the island quite shortly, no doubt, on the islands. So I just got a pop-up that my nephew, Count Rurik, was slain, and I was trying to figure out who the hell is this? Is this one of Orna's children? No, it is Katrina's son with King Helgi the Seer. So when Katrina was held as a concubine, her son, who inherited Kammersburg on Helgi's death in this region here, his liege is involved in I think it's this war for Benevento, but he was killed down here on the very, very southern tip of Italy in battle. So that's Count Rurik, somebody who I was very worried about for a while was going to come back and make trouble in Ireland, because I thought he might have a claim to the Kingdom of Ireland. We can see that in the northern tip of Scotland, the Gardariki are bringing in their forces. Now we have a large force in the area. It just depends where they actually go. And the other thing that I have kind of noticed, there's more West Frankish troops coming in. The thing I've noticed is that I haven't seen my my Gallogloss anywhere. So I'm kind of wondering what's going on there. They have joined the war. That Gardariki army has just gotten bigger. It's up to 3,900. So it'll be interesting to see where they're actually going. So to be on the safe side, I've just called in my in-laws, my new in-laws, whose daughter I am betrothed to. Called them into the war, just in case it's needed. We're up to 7,000 troops. If the Frankish forces would set foot somewhere, that'd be a great help to me. And so Grianghrafadóir's eldest child comes of age. I did try to call this guy into the war, and he refused. He has another 4 years before he comes of age and they can actually marry. And my giant of a wife has provided me with another daughter, Grania. Yeah, let's leave it as that. So we've sieged down Ayrshire. The West Franks are heading off somewhere. Somebody in the family has created a cadet branch. Fair play to him. He's gotten that achievement. I want to see where the West Franks are heading to. I'm thinking if they're heading to attack Gardariki property on the continent, I'm thinking of joining them. But also we're facing the fact that if the Gardariki, if their main armies show up in Ireland, I'd rather to fight them there. So this is a rather bizarre scenario. My two great generals, one of them's 12, 28. But yeah, 12-year-old, like he's having a fight with a 12-year-old. He's going on the temptation focus. I'm just going to let them both act as they see fit. So I'm kind of keeping an eye as to where the French forces are traveling to. The West Frankish forces. I think they're going for this territory here. And we have replaced Donal as head of House Caelcach. I'm not entirely too sure why. He hasn't died or anything, unless he's been deposed from something. Here is my niece. Another child of Katrina and Helgi's. And this is how that alliance was formed. Oh, good lord. So she was married to the king of Ghana to secure their support. And she has now been captured. So my family is just being used by the Gardariki for to bully Ireland. That's very fitting. They used the daughter of a captured Irish concubine to form the alliance that would bring them in. I think, what was it, 3,500 soldiers. Oh, those Vikings. Those pesky Vikings. So the French are indeed attacking Gardariki territory here in East Francia. Will we join them? Will we join them? Why not? Why not? We'll bring our forces onto the continent again, and we'll see about heading south, joining up with the French, heading south and attacking into Bavarian Gardariki. So two of my champions are fighting. I'm going to deliver a speech. It'll give me a bit of stress. I've had them whipped before in the past, and it led to two of my knights dying. So it's not a great solution. And so it fell on deaf ears. They've started a fight. I'm going to join in. So he's after getting wounded while fighting his own knights over an argument. My brother Geralt has formed a faction against me, the crafty, drunken devil. So he wants the Irish throne. So a faction to install Arcade. He wants Arcade to take the Irish throne. They're too weak at the moment. And of course there are those Norse populace way up in our accidental Norse regions. By ransoming off this prisoner here, we could get a grand total of 5 or 10 gold. Like I've said, Grianghrafadóir is in the first couple of months, first couple of years of his rule. Nobody fears him. Nobody takes him seriously. He needs to make a point and make it quickly. That's 2 prisoners burned at the stake. His dread goes up. They were both Norse, so we suffer no penalties for executing them, or they were of different religions to us. So a couple of dramatic things have occurred for Grianghrafadóir all at once. One of the first things is that Arcade is under attack by his brother, and our brother, Uí Néill, who is seeking to claim Oriel. We executed a prisoner. Ooh, this is bad. Alliance has expired with our father-in-law, Louis II. And we will see that the alliance is invalid because he is no longer the ruler, and that must be from a while back. Not too sure why we're only getting that now. But we've seen a massive depletion in Grianghrafadóir's armies due to the fact that his father-in-law has died, and our alliance with the Western Franks no longer continues. Her brother, Louis III, has become the king of West Francia, so our brother-in-law is the king of West Francia, and another brother-in-law is the king of Italy. So we should actually see that those two regions have split. There it is, Italy, which we, our father, Flann Sinna, battled so valiantly to win for West Francia. Again, the two crowns have split. It's a pity that alliance doesn't continue. We're gonna have to see what we can do here. So here's another rather interesting alliance. Here is the future Duke of Anjou. We're going to marry him off to a zero-year-old baby, Grania. That marriage will be accepted if this woman looks a bit shook. She looks a bit frightened, a bit scared. This is one of 3 individuals that we captured and tortured, that Flann Sinna captured and tortured after he sieged down Ulm. So we should see that Ulm is one of the... There we go, the county of Ulm. So we captured Ulm, captured 3 prisoners, and this is one of them that was tortured. Fair play to them. Let bygones be bygones. I want those 1,200 soldiers, and that alliance hopefully will be accepted. So Grianghrafadóir's brother-in-law wants to form an alliance. He's a Prince of Alba. We will accept that alliance. So Irish forces have landed again in East Francia. I saw an army was coming around this region. I was hoping to cut them off, but what we're going to do instead is we're going to march into the northern tip of Gardariki territory. And there we can see that Arcade has been captured. So our brother has been captured by another one of our brothers, who's seeking to strengthen his grip, and possibly we could be looking at the beginnings of a civil war for the Kingdom of Ireland, which is another reason that we want to try and finish this off sooner rather than later. Ruacán is our new heir. Looks like the ruling dynasty in Lothringia has changed again. It's changed back to being Lothringia, but it looks like it has all of its the same territory. So we have another perk for Grianghrafadóir with a big cut across his face. It's not even from battle, it's from that fight that he got in with his knights, and it makes people more likely to accept peace. That might be of benefit to us in this current war, and then the next time he will become gallant. So we've pushed in here into what was previously Bavaria. We pushed in a bit ahead of our allies. We're sieging down, split the army and are sieging down 2 areas. The West Frankish forces are coming in, possibly for the last time, because they will stop supporting us after this war ends. Gardariki, I'm not too sure where they've actually sent their troops. We've taken another region. And I know that there is major supply limit problems here. We'll lose 100 troops just for crossing into certain regions, so I'm not too sure where we will go to next. We might pull them out and around. Who doesn't want to go back to Ulm? We had great old fun in Ulm the last time, so I'll bring them in a roundabout direction. So I'll bring them around this way, and down here we might just pass by Ulm and say hi, see how everyone's keeping. So I was wondering why we haven't actually met any Gardariki forces as yet, and it appears as though there is a massive internal war for Gardariki. Jedward, as I insist on calling him, is being backed up by his sole ally in Ghana, and most of the other major powers, including the war leader in Bavaria. I'm not entirely too sure who he is. It's maybe an internal war, but it looks like there's a massive civil war going on, and that this is what is distracting the Gardariki at the moment, and we're going to be able to strike and hopefully drive them off the island. So we will remove the greatest threat that we have faced, and that will at least ease the loss of our alliance to the Western Franks. It won't be as bad. Possibly with one more territory taken, we should be in a position to bring this war to an end. Actually, of course, with our recent bonus to peace, we could bring this war to an end right now. Let's get some more money. Let's get a small bit more money. It would be a shame to just abandon these sieges. It'd be a shame. I mean, we've come all this way. We might as well. And there we go. Oh, we got 5 quid from the last one. Fantastic. Now, I'm not entirely too sure why, but our capture of these 2 areas has actually weakened our war score, which isn't great. So what we're going to do is we're going to march these 2 armies. Where are we going to march them to? We're probably... Where is the quickest way to the ocean? I think it is actually here, because we might be able to put them into boats and get them back, because Ghana has landed in Ireland, and I am certain that they are going to siege back Ossory. They are indeed. So we're going to have to return to Ireland, and we are going to have to fight the forces of Ghana. So we join the army back together, and let's see if we can dump them straight out. No, I thought they would use the river, but they won't. So we're going to have to wait to get them out into the ocean. By that stage, Ghana will have sieged down Ossory, and it's going for Athlone. Athlone is under siege for the 3rd time in its history. And we've hit some forces that we didn't even know about. We didn't even realize. We hit a bit of a roadblock. Didn't even see that battle. They were trying to hold us back. Pole, our leading commander, got in 6 kills. Fair play to him. We're halfway through the siege of Athlone. Our troops are into the ocean. We're coming around the southern tip of... Oh, I think they know where we're coming from. They know where we're coming from. So obviously we can't do that. We can't just land there and attack them. And now it's the weird game of marching and counter-marching to just try and cut off these guys. They're going up into the mountains. There's an overwhelming French and Irish force coming against them, and if we can just cut them off, just hit them and engage in battle, we should be able to absolutely decimate them. Massive, unnecessary numbers. We get back in there and siege down Ossory. Again. So it looks like Fingwina is attempting to overthrow my brother. I don't care. This is one of our alliances. We will cement that. That's one of our daughters married off. I think 2 of our daughters married, maybe. The sparring grounds that Flann Sinna began the construction of have been completed, and we're up to 72% war score. So this is rather interesting. I've just seen that that King Jedward is a Bavarian Catholic. So he seems to have converted and changed culture. Because of course he is a brother of Helgi the Seer. Helgi, if you could see what your family has become. So, so the entire region is now called Novgorod instead of Gardariki. So maybe it's not so bad if they remain here. Now, what do we do? What do we do from here? We're up to 72% war score. Do we send the forces back, or do we maybe even bring them around? And nope, that's also under siege. We could bring them up and attack attack through the southern part of Novgorod here, or yeah, I'm not entirely too sure. It's looking like a strange scenario. Were my forces? No, I thought my forces were raised up there as well. So here is actually somebody who is allied to us. Now, at the moment, they're on the opposite side. So what we're actually going to do, because these are the armies of... there's our daughter. And there is Duke Heinrich. I don't think he's leading the armies. But what we're going to have to do is probably see about rushing the army back to the continent. So this is going to be an expensive war, just ferrying people back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But hopefully we can get the war score up. I don't know. I don't necessarily know what happened, that we were at 90 something and then we knocked it down by remaining in the war. But we'll see. We'll see. So I didn't realize that we actually had enough renown to unlock to unlock our first legacy, because it's our first time being in charge of the dynasty legacies. We're going to go for the warfare path. So it will give +2 prowess, and knight effectiveness goes up by 15%. And I'll probably try and complete that path. I might come down, it seems as though we've already started along Guile. Under a previous dynasty head, we might see about going down a small bit in that direction. So all in one go, a couple of big announcements. Our mother has passed away. Our mother, who was the primary wife of Flann Sinna for so long before he forced her out and replaced her with high intrigue women when he was becoming suspicious of Grianghrafadóir. Why would he become suspicious of Grianghrafadóir? I would love to know who it was that was planning to kill Flann Sinna, but we'll never know now. We'll never know. So we've now been invited to a war against somebody I just formed an alliance with a minute ago. I think I married off one of my half-sisters, the half-sister that we're not entirely sure whether she's actually a half-sister or not. But it formed an alliance, and so our brother-in-law is going to war, an independence war, against Ser Verthuk, who is also a family member. He's part of House Uí Néill, and he was in line for... He pops up every once in a while in succession for the High Kingship. So we would accept that to kind of assist in destabilizing that region. So we've joined this Liberty War. The numbers aren't too badly matched. Now, do you know what we've I'll see if I can stop marching. I can't. So we're going out into the water one way or another. What we might do while we're here is we might actually divert our forces to fighting these battles first of all. So we're actually going to land in Wales. I'll pause very, very quickly. Our High Queen Hildeberg is pregnant. This was our primary wife who provided us with an alliance, who provided... Our father got more use out of it than we did. He provided an alliance to West Francia. But what I might do, Aquitaine has actually split off and cut in. Maybe there's been another generation of the family has passed away. And it looks like it. It looks like it. So there's been another transfer of power. West Francia has split up further. The kingdoms of West Francia and Aquitaine have become separated. What we're going to do is, as part of the wars in this general region, we're going to land our forces here in northern Wales and begin sieging down this area, because we do actually want to fight, or to kind of get an understanding of how strong these guys are if we ever make a move on Ulster. So this was the first full episode in charge of Grianghrafadóir after he secured the High Kingship. We've seen pop-ups every 5 seconds that his heir is changing. He hasn't had enough time to keep an eye on what his brothers are doing. There's been all sorts of shenanigans. Urquhart, I think, has been forced out of Oriel. There's a Baba in there. So another one of our brothers must have died. Who was in here? Who was your father? That's Moll Shocknail. So Moll Shocknail has been deposed, maybe. I'm not entirely too sure what's after... What's after happening? So it's been bedlam up here. Urquhart has been forced out of Oriel. Moll Shocknail has been forced out of Breffni in place of his son. I think Geralt is still drinking as much as he can down in Desmond. Finn Gwynne, Flann Sinna appointed him as the Count of Connacht to weaken Maul Shocknail when he inherited the High Chieftainship. It's worked. It's worked to such a degree that Finn Gwynne is the only person still in power. The other two have been deposed. And we're still trying to get the last couple of ticks that we need to finish off this war with Novgorod, Gardariki rebranded, and drive the Norse powers, Norse pagans, from the island of Ireland once and for all, and secure some level of peace and stability on the island now that we have lost our alliance with our largest power. Thank you all for joining me. It's been an interesting and exciting one, my first succession, my first transfer of power in the game, and it'll be interesting to see how Grianghrafadóir sees through the succession on his end, because at the moment he doesn't have a son, and it doesn't seem to be as pressing a matter for him as it was for his father at this point in time. Thank you for joining me, and I shall talk to you on the next episode.